Hello everybody. I got a phone call and it turned off my Facebook Live. It's Thursday, April 8th, 2021, and this is part 2, but I'm going to wait and see if I'm really live. Okay, I am. Hopefully you guys can come back. Oh my goodness, how annoying. The phone call, I've gotten phone calls during lives before and nothing happened. So, but it like totally froze up over here. And it didn't really show me saving that old video. So I hope that is saved or I'm going to be not very happy. Hello, Tammy. So welcome back, everybody. If anyone joins new, hopefully they will understand what just happened. But, I'm just going to continue on just to not, waste you guys' time. So the silver and clear epoxy essentials, there's clear ones and silver ones, and they're like diamond shape and circles. So really cute there. Showed you the genial gems. And then we have Simply Elegant trim. So gold and silver trim. We've needed that for a while. So that's awesome that that is back. And then last but not least, and then we can stamp that, and I'm going to show you one other thing. This is a host gift as well. It is a super thick, I think it's like 48 sheets, but I can't remember for sure, stack of designer paper. It's 12 by 12. It's called Pattern Party. And it is, hey Janet, hey Jackie, sorry about that. It's awesome designer paper, free. You can get it free with your host benefits during, starting in May. Of course, I can purchase it now. You can purchase it now in your starter kit. But the back side is all black and white. And then the other side is just fun patterns. So, really fun paper there. I love that, like, leopard print one. There's lots of, like, rainbow hearts. There's another rainbow one, I think. It's not a physical rainbow, but lots of sort of rainbow-ish colors. Really cool. So there's that. Welcome back, everybody. And I hope everybody can make it back. Because some people, like when that happens, you don't know what to do. Do I go back? Do I not? Okay, so I'm using the Bloom and Grow for our make and takes today. Both are retiring. The stamp set will be guaranteed until April 23rd, but the dies are while supplies last. The dies are only $8.25, but you want them with this set because they cut out these images specifically. These are really large images, which you'll see when I stamp. So 2 sheets of stamps in there. Both together are only $34.25. And again, especially with the dies, while supplies last. So make sure you jump on that deal if you don't have this already. I want to show you real quick, if you notice in any of my classes, the add-on of the adhesive kit, this is it. This is the bag. Inside the bag, you get all this stuff. Mini Stampin' Dimensionals. It won't be written on. I just grabbed what I had here. Mini glue dots, a Stampin' Seal, not a plus, a regular Stampin' Seal. Tear and tape, an adhesive remover, which takes glue off your, like, tape runner off your pages, a 6-inch ruler, Tombow liquid glue, and a sand eraser. So I'll keep that out. That's my used one in case I can show y'all what that's for, but that kind of can erase small mistakes off of your paper. So that's the adhesive kit. It's an add-on to most of my events now. Okay, so let me get started with our stamping. I'm all thrown off because this darn video stopped. So the card base for this first card is basic white. It's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper cut in half. So 5.5 by 8.5. Then I have a piece of designer paper. This one is called Artistry Blooms. And I'll show you that paper real quick. It's in the annual catalog and it is retiring. And then I have some scraps of basic white, as well as a pre-die cut label of basic white. This label is from Tasteful Label Dies. Those dies right there. And It's this one here. So all of these put either stitching, or like this one puts a little embossed edge around. And for these, sorry, these are not retiring, so they'll still be available in the new catalog. This paper, just to show you real quick, I think I have one of each design in this packet, so I can show you all of them. I did forget to see if it's discounted, but I have it, my catalog marked. Something got wet there. I can't tell if that's a repeat. That might be this. Nope, it's different. Anyway, there's all 6 designs, but of course you get 2 of each. It's 12 by 12. It's a really cool paper, and I used it a lot when it first came out with there's a stamp set it's sort of bundled with. Let me look it up real quick and see if it's full price, which even if it is, it's only $11.50, but I think a lot of the designer papers were discounted, if I remember, maybe. Yeah, it's only $9.20 while supplies last. So you can grab that. Okay, so my card base, I'm gonna fold it in half with the bone folder to get a nice crisp fold. And I align the paper to my thumbnail on the table and make sure the 2 corners are lined up. Then I barely pinch it with my finger so that I can do all the real folding with my bone folder, because it'll be smoother, especially on the inside. And then I'll set that aside. I can also set the designer paper aside because I'm not going to be using that. I'm not going to stamp on that. So I'm going to stamp on these 3 images. And there are basically in this set 3 different types of flower images. They're kind of like bouquets or swags, and they're much bigger than what's shown on here, but I'm using all 3, each a different one on each card today. So the first one I'm using is this really long, the longest one, kind of long and skinny, the most swag-like, and I'm going to stamp it in Memento Black ink so I can color it in. And unless I went crazy, I've pre-colored everything, so I'll show you, how I colored on one, and then everything else is pre-colored and die cut out, so don't worry. So Memento Black ink, inked it up really well, hold it down for a few seconds, stamp. On Memento Black, you can press hard versus our regular ink pads where we want to be gentle. And if you don't have a really firm, hard table underneath, you want the Stampin' Pierce mat. It's number 126199 for $5 in the online store. And you put that under your paper when you stamp. If your table is soft, squishy, bumpy, plastic, just not very firm, basically. This is like one of those fake wood hard tables, so it's fine. Then on this piece is our greeting, and it's from the same stamp set. I'm only using the 1 stamp set today, no additional stamps. So I'm going to use Melon Mambo ink, which is a color from the designer paper. And this says, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart." And the fonts and greetings in this set are really cute. So let's see if I can stamp this straight. And of course on that ink pad I tapped more gently. That's a little crooked, but it'll be fine. Because it's a foam pad. Okay, then we'll color both of these in. Again, I'm not going to do all of that right now, but I will show you just in case anyone's not familiar with Stampin' Blends. Memento Black ink is a water-based ink, and that's the kind of ink you want to use with an alcohol marker. Can't pick this up, which is what these are. So I have Old Olive, So Saffron, and Melon Mambo. I don't have labels on these yet, but they're Melon Mambo. And I actually only used dark So Saffron, and I used it, I'm using the fine point, just a tip, because some people said they didn't know this last time. Hey everybody, and welcome back, by the way. I'm just trying to go on because of my video stopped. But if you didn't see the first video, comment on this video so you can get entered to win the prize, or go back and watch the first one because it has a lot of great information as well. And comment on that one. Either way, you'll get entered to win this week's prize. But these blends markers have a visual on them, a skinny line and a thick line. There's also a picture of the fine tip and the brush tip, so that tells you which end to open if you're looking for one. But I used the dark and just colored these like berry images with that. So that's what I did there. And actually, I only used light old olive for the leaves. And I did that, well, I was kind of being lazy, but also these leaves don't have veins drawn on them on this image. So I didn't find it necessary to put shadows, but I definitely could have put shadows, which I'll show you how to on the flowers. Oh, and I just forgot something. So like that. And why I use alcohol markers over water-based, because, and they do bleed through, because they go on so much smoother. Literally, you see no lines in your coloring. And you can keep coloring and coloring forever, and it's not going to break down your paper, and it's not going to make the lines. I also used dark, I forgot, on the center of every flower. So I just scribbled, because it does not need to be perfect. And there is a lot of black in the center of these flowers when you stamp it in black, but there's some holes where that yellow shows through. So then I did use dark and light for the mango. And what I do is I go in with dark first where I want shadows. And so these flowers were hard for me to figure out where to put shadows, because I'm not artistic like that. If you are, you'll be fine. So I added a shadow all the way around the middle, the center of the flower. And then I just kind of randomly selected edges to make it darker. So I do that first, and I only do 1 or 2 flowers at a time, so the ink doesn't dry too much because it won't blend as well. And then I go back and color the entire image with the light, including going over that dark part, because that's what literally blends it together and smooths out the harsh line difference between the light and dark. If you need to add more dark, you can go back and add more dark. Then you can go back and blend it out like I'm doing right now. Like, you can do that forever. You can mix together colors that aren't actually, quote, matching colors, because it's alcohol based and somehow magically they don't run together on your marker. But you know, it's not going to hurt anything if I go back and add dark. And we even have this thing called a color lifter that you can use to lighten up an area where you want to add some light or you made it too dark. So that's basically how you use Stampin' Blends. I am going to demonstrate the die cutting just on this one. I don't think I have to die cut anything else later, so I'll show you that. But after you die cut them out, they look like this. And you can kind of see, actually I kind of didn't blend too good on the middle of that big flower, but you can see the light and dark on the pink flowers and everywhere else where I did not blend. Hello, Pat. Thanks for sharing. Oh yeah, y'all share this video too. Please. Good point, Pat. Because, you know, if your friends saw part 1, they're going to want to see the stamping portion. I'm just going to use my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We have a big one as well. Look at my bag I have it in. It's a Stampin' Up! Lunch sack, which fits this mini machine and all the plates. Demonstrators only can purchase this. So all my plates are in there. Of course, it comes with all the plates you need when you buy it, and instructions. And the big one does too. Now the mini only fits smaller dies, so keep that in mind. You don't want to, or I wouldn't want anyone to think they could use the bigger machine, the smaller machine with everything we sell. But the catalogs tell you which machines they work with. But some sets of dies will have some images that work in the small and some that do not. So there is, I have to get my adhesive kit out of my way. There is a die for every one of the 3 flowers in the set, as well as there's 2 small scallop border dies. and then dies that cut out the other smaller floral images in this set. I'm just grabbing this one here. And then you want to, on your cutting pad, have it already sitting on the machine. Because if you don't, you're going to have to pick it up and move it, and everything's going to shift. And then, I need a drink of water. And then align the die with the image. And then especially for this one, because it's really big and long and skinny, I use a sticky note to hold it in place. So that that die doesn't shift and be off track when I run it through the machine. And then put your top cutting pad on top, and then just crank it through. This one's, I don't know if I put the right bottom plate. I think I didn't. Let me check. No, I guess I did. It cut. Okay. I haven't used this one in a minute, so I was afraid I did it wrong. And there you go. You get that perfectly cut out image. So that is how you're going to do that for all of your, how we would have done it for all of the flowers today. And then, didn't leave myself any space to put my machine away. So now I believe I'm ready to put this card together. I went in my closet, in my little thing, and looked for ribbon that was Old Olive. And I found this one. It's a set of 2 ribbons, Old Olive and Terracotta Tile. It's called Ornate Garden Ribbon Combo Pack. And it's on clearance, or, retiring discounted for $2.80. I believe you get 5 yards of each roll, I think. And again, Old Olive and Terracotta Tile. So I'm using the Old Olive one, and I was just looking for an Old Olive ribbon basically when I grabbed that. So the first thing I'm going to do is tie the ribbon around this designer paper. I'm going to grab my tweezers. I use reverse tweezers to tie bows and knots sometimes on cards. This is going to be the top of my card, the lighter section of this designer paper. And this is the bottom, and this is the right-hand side. So I want this bow on the right-hand side. So I'm getting it ready to tie, but then as you can see, I flipped my paper upside down. So that when I tie the bow, my paper is upside down. And then I have these reverse tweezers so that I can now be hands-free and be able to tie, or have both hands to tie my bow and not have to worry about holding that down. So we don't carry these reverse tweezers, but I do have an Amazon link if you would like that, to get them on Amazon. It's actually a 2-pack. It's not these exact ones, but some other reverse tweezers. They help you tie a knot or a bow so much easier. So there's that. And then let me trim that off. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, and then my greeting is going to go in the very middle, but I do think I have my bow far enough to the right, but it's not really centered, so I'm going to shift this ribbon up. Okay, so I'm going to add the greeting flat. I'm also going to use rhinestones on this card with my Stampin' Seal. You can get that in your adhesive kit. You can just grab that kit when you go stamp with friends, or to a crop or a class or a retreat weekend, etc. So there's that. And then I will use dimensionals on these 2. If I can pick them up. Having issues today. See how that ink bled through on the Stampin' Blends? So I love mini Stampin' Dimensionals now. If you didn't know, I do. That's why they're included in my adhesive kit. And these are the white ones. We do have black as well. But you get 720 minis in a pack. And since I was cutting my big ones in half anyway, this is actually cheaper. Not that I don't, like, I have so many packs of dimensionals here as a backup because I use them all the time. So I still use plenty of dimensionals. I'm just, you know, economical about it. And I'll peel the backing off of all of these. Hate Carrie. So if you're checking in late, I don't know if you saw the first video, but I got cut off because I received a phone call. Actually, I'm going to put this on the card base first. So there's a whole first part of this video where I showed new product and talked about my events and all that stuff as well. So check it out. This really messes up my whole uploading the video to my blog and stuff. I wanted to put this on the card base first so that I can have this go up into the white section as well if I want the white section of the card. And then I would see, because you don't want to go over the edge of the card if you're going to put it in an envelope. Okay. And then this one goes down here. And something kind of, not funny, but whatever. When I made this card, I was like, oh, now it just looks like a circle back there. Let me just use a circle punch instead. That'll be quicker and easier. And then I tested that out and it did not look the same. So for whatever reason, that die, which is, you know, like a rectangle shape, still gave a better image for me back there than a circle. So who knows why, but that's how it came out. So I have my rhinestones here. It comes with large ones too, but I've used all of these large ones. And my take your pick tool, I use the pointy end. There's actually a couple of choices there of how you want to apply your things. But I always tell people, your embellishments, put your finger on the embellishment and then hold it down while you dig up under there and grab it, because otherwise you could flip it off of this sheet and lose it. What did I do yesterday with my brand new, I only have one pack because that's all we were allowed to order, in color jewels. Didn't put my finger on top and I lost one. It flipped somewhere and it's gone. So I was like, follow your own instructions, person. I won't say the word I called myself, but anyway, Janet says this looks more like an oval to her. I guess it kind of does. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how it, to me, it changed. It looks like it changed the shape of it, because here's the original shape. So interesting, but you know, that's why we test stuff out sometimes and determine one way's better than the other. Thank you, Jackie. This stamp set is really, really cute, y'all. Definitely consider adding it to your list if you don't have it already. Okay, so here's the original card. Pretty much look the same, I think. That's good. And I kind of clean up my stuff so I can find it supposedly when I look for it next. Okay, looking good. Next, let me remember. Oh yeah. So this card, we have a basic white card base, 5.5, 8.5. A new color, Fresh Freesia, which as a reminder is darker than Purple Posy, a lot darker. Then I have a piece of the new Pansy Petals designer paper. That's the back side, which is really cute too, but I wanted the gingham. This is Fresh Freesia. Glad y'all like that. And then I've pre-die cut a stitched nested label. And these dies are retiring. Why? I don't know. They're so amazing. And they are $28. They're discounted to $28. Stitched nested labels. Susan, the stamp set is called Bloom and Grow. And the dies are called Budding Blooms. They're only $8.25, and Bloom and Grow is $26. Both together would be $34.25. And I know you're a demonstrator, so you would get your discount on top of that. Great deal. So yeah, Bloom and Grow. And then don't forget the Budding Blooms dies. If you have a die cut machine, that is. You can hand cut stuff out, of course. So then I also have a scrap here of basic white. I almost showed you the thing. And then those are my pieces for this card. So don't forget, stitch nested are going away. There is a border die where you can shorten these and stuff, but otherwise, I think this is the largest that I'm using on this card, and then there's all these different sizes of that shape. It's really good. So this one is this flower, which I will stamp just so you can get a good idea of how this image looks. This is my favorite image from this stamp set. It's just really pretty. I think that's a rose in the middle, and then a couple of more roses, and all these other flowers. So cute. So I already showed you how to color with Stampin' Blends on the first card. So I'm not going to do that again just to save you time. But I do want to tell you, first of all, you're going to think this is so pretty, I hope. Boom. But I want to show you what colors I used. So I used Fresh Freesia. That's a new color. You can get it in your starter kit. I used what is it called? Polished Pink. Almost called it Positively Pink. Polished Pink. Sage. What is it called? Succulent. I started to say Sage Shadow, y'all. Soft Succulent for my green. And Pale Papaya. So all new in colors on this one. So pretty. So really good colors there. Yes, Janet, I agree. The spray is just gorgeous. Like, oh, why do you have to retire now? So, color, die cut out, or vice versa. You can die cut out and then color if you're afraid you're going to slip on your machine and you don't want to do all that coloring and then die cut it out and ruin it, which I go both ways because I definitely have done that before. Okay, so for the greeting on this card, I'm going to stamp on this label, and this is the cutest greeting in the set. It says, "You are simply wonderful," but you'll see when I stamp it how cute the font is. And of course, I'm using Fresh Freesia, brand new color. So I'm giving y'all some old and new today, and the new is coming in less than a month, so don't worry about that if you just don't want to get that starter kit, but you can get it now. And of course, my team is awesome. All these demonstrators. Thank you, Janet. Most of these demonstrators commenting on here are in the team. So, it's pretty cool. Okay, so there's that. Oh, and I'm using the new ribbon, the one I showed at the beginning when I showed this new in color ribbon. So I'm using that on this card as well. Fresh Freesia. Okay, so we're ready to put this one together. I'm going to fold with the bone folder. Janet, it's a really good set. I bought it when it came out, which is, I don't know how long ago, but y'all know how it is. We buy everything we like, and then we don't necessarily get to it and use it, especially in time. Then Stampin' Up! Puts that list out, and we're like panicking. I'm like, no, I haven't had enough time with you. I'm going to do that to the card base. So yeah, it's one of those sets. So I attached the designer paper to the Freesia to the card base. Now I'm going to add my greeting with dimensionals and my spray with dimensionals. And I will tell y'all, I only used 5 on this big old label, stitch nested label, and I think it's fine. You can use more, of course, but I don't think it's necessary. And I did 5 on the spray, but it's because it's an odd shape. Just spread them out. So my greeting, I'm just putting this, instead of centering it, it's just going to go a little bit towards the top. So more towards the top than the bottom, so to say. And then I'll put the spray above the words. If you guys look on Pinterest too, you'll see lots of really pretty samples with this set. The last card I'm going to make was inspired, like the layout was inspired from Pinterest. Look at that. Oh, these colors. These are spring colors. You know that? Who said that? Janet. I agree with you. These new in colors are great for spring. I mean, maybe not the evergreen, but hey, there's green leaves in spring. Green trees. And then I'm going to make a bow here with this ribbon. Yes, Charlotte. We just can't get to it. Not in time, anyway. So I have 2 bunny ears, space in between. My fingers are all pointing at me. All the ribbon is flat. It's not twisted anywhere. And then I'm going to take my right hand and go over my left, and then push that same loop down into the bunny hole. And tie my bow. I'm trying to be very frugal with this ribbon. I only have 1 roll right now. So, see, it ties into a really, like a bow really easily. Figure out which way to cut this. And it's frayed a little bit on this other end, which is pretty usual because of the type of ribbon it is. So give yourself a little extra on that loose end to trim it down. And then I'll just use a mini glue dot to add my bow. And that's it for this card. Now, of course, you could, okay, I could have thrown some rhinestones on here as well, but I think it's also fine. Or some of the new, like, gems, but there you go. Love these colors so much. What do y'all think? Thank you, Sharon. Janet, that's so true. Like, I've almost forgotten about, what do you call it? Pretty Peacock retiring. The new colors. She said it's almost helping her forget about the retiring ones. Okay, this last card, we have another basic white card base. I couldn't separate them there. And then this is a new color too, Pale Papaya, 4 by 5 1/4. Then I have a strip of basic gray, 1 3/4 by 5, a scrap of basic white, and a strip of 1/2 inch by 5 gold foil. Okay, so for this card, on the flower I'm using is that last one, and on, let me fold this card base in half. On this Pale Papaya, I'm going to stamp this flower as a background. So you can do this stamp without coloring it in. Now I am going to color on this card as well, but you can use it as a background or just stamp it like in a nice, you know, flowery color, whether it's whatever color you choose, pink, purple, whatever. But I am doing both on this card, so it should be clean. Yeah, so I'm going to use my Pale Papaya ink pad and make a background. And I know the bottom of this card is getting covered up with that gray cardstock, so I'm only gonna stamp the top half. It's just sort of a random background. Like that. And then you can see what this flower looks like. This, you know, spray, whatever it is, swag spray bunch. Sorry, I'm trying to pick this up with my other hand. And then here's what it looks like colored in. So I colored this one in with Pale Papaya, light and dark, So Saffron, light and dark, and Old Olive, light and dark. So this one has the details on the leaves. So I did the dark on the little veins, and then light everywhere. And the little berry things, I don't know what those are really called, I did dark papaya. I actually tried light at first and it was way too light. So those are dark papaya. So that's what I would do on this white piece stamp color die cut out. Susan, I wonder that as well. She said, wonder why they discontinued silver foil. You know, don't know. I also wonder. Wish they weren't, but Sarah Douglas, our CEO, did do a video a day or two ago answering some questions, like just general questions about the business. And she said that a lot of things are cyclical in the sales cycle, and they come back eventually. So it could be one of those kind of things as well. Like it just hasn't been selling. They'll give it a year or two and then bring it back. I don't know that that's true, but that could be a thing. Or maybe they'll bring back glitter paper. That's what I would also like. Okay, so on this basic gray, I'm going to heat emboss my greeting. So I'm going to take a dryer sheet and rub all over to remove the static. Then I'm going to stamp in Versamark ink. This is a watermark stamp pad, but also super sticky and stays wet long enough for the powder to stick to it. This says Forever Starts Today. So Versamark, if you just want it, like I could have stamped this image in Versamark and it would have almost looked the same, maybe not quite as dark. You'll see it here when I stamp this greeting on this, might be a little crooked, cardstock. And not too bad. You can see the image perfectly. If I just leave that, it's fine. Like that'll dry, and even if I touch it, it's not going to smear or anything. So that you can use that ink pad for that purpose as well. And that's part of what it's intended for. But I'm going to cover it with white embossing powder. So I just scoop it under there and then tap off the excess. And then I'll heat that. So this is heat embossing. You do need a stickier ink for heat embossing. So your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your regular ink pads will not work for heat embossing. I mean, every once in a while you can get one that's super juicy, but that's rare. Like I wouldn't count on it. Okay, and then I plugged in my heat tool. I'm going to put it on number 2, which is high, which you need for heat embossing. I also have a clothespin attached to it permanently so that I always can clip my paper quickly and not burn my fingers. And it takes a second for this to heat up. But once it's hot, you'll see that it melts your image really quickly. And when it turns white and shiny, or whatever color and shiny, move on to the next section. Don't keep heating it. Y'all see the difference there? See how fast it is? It helps a tiny bit, this foil being under it, in that the foil gets hot, and so it heats even faster. And then you just want to check and make sure it is shiny everywhere and not grainy, because if it's grainy, you didn't heat it, and the Versamark's going to dry and that powder is going to come off. So there's that. Heat embossing is so cool. And I was trying to get away without heat embossing on this card actually, but then I was like, no, it needs it. It needs to pop out like that. Now for this one, I am going to emboss this now. So I have my big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because the folder I'm going to use won't fit on here. Also, it is a thicker folder, so I'm going to remove all the plates that I don't need. Remember, this comes with instructions, as well as, of course, I can always tell you. So this is the subtle embossing folder. It is retiring. If you don't have this, order it now. Yes, Susan. Order it now, because it's amazing. It turns any paper you have into textured paper. Every color you own, you now have it in textured as well. Now mine is an old folder, but if you buy this now, you'll put the gray cutting pad on top. Just ignore what I'm doing. If you own this old one, you use a clear one on top. But this is one of our 3D embossing folders, so it just takes one cutting pad on top. And again, if you buy it now, it's that gray one. Even though this paper's gray, but it's a gray thing. So hopefully, oh yeah, you can see that texture. I really am sad this one's retiring, but you know, they can't keep it forever because they have to make room in the warehouse for the new products. So just get it now if you don't have it, and you will be fine before it sells out, because it's while supplies last. Okay, now to finish this card off, I'm like way over my normal time. That's why an alarm went off on my phone, because I thought I'd be finished by now. I'm gonna use this ribbon, also retiring. It's the Forever Greenery Trim Combo. I love this one so much, and it is discounted to $7.20. You get the gold twine and this other really cool ribbon, which I've used all the time, but not today. I'm using the gold foil, the gold twine. And, okay, so let me just put this together. I need my adhesive. I'm gonna attach this basic gray, I don't remember if I said that color properly, but it's basic gray cardstock to the bottom of the pale papaya cardstock. These colors go together really well, of course. And then this can go ahead and go on my card base. Notice I'm not using very much Stampin' Seal because it's not necessary. It's a very strong adhesive, and that's just the regular Stampin' Seal that I use. And then that's 1/2 inch strip of gold foil is going to go right across the middle. And a funny thing is I added the foil after I finished my original card, so I had to like cut little strips and tuck them under. So I was like, it needs something in the middle there. Anyway, so you could actually save and just use portions. And then for my swag thing, I'm going to put adhesive on the left side because that's where I want this ribbon. So I'll put adhesive there first. That's step one. Then I'm going to do what I call 2 times and 3 times. 2 fingers. I'm going to hold this twine between my thumb and forefinger. And then I'm going to wrap it around 2 fingers twice. 1, 2. Then I add a 3rd finger and I do 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then I trim it off. And so you have this not perfect shape here. And then you grab your cardstock where you put adhesive on it and you smush it into there from the back, or on the back, whatever you want to call it. And you have that little thing. And you can, of course, still mess with it and change the shape. This one looks different than the original one I did, but it's fine. And then I'm just going to add dimensionals to that. This sticky note just fell down and hit my leg, and I thought like a snake was in here or something. I was like, let me look down before I scream and run out of the Facebook Live. Then when you do this technique, just make sure you put a dimensional on top of the twine so that it helps secure it even more. I pretty much always use dimensionals when I do this technique. I keep stepping away to go to my trash can there. So that goes right there. And really, that's it. That card is finished. Now this one frayed a lot more. It actually, I think, looks cuter that way. But if you were making a bunch of these, some would look like this and some would look like this, and they would all look different. So that is fine, of course. But that is what I have for y'all today. I hope you like them. Let me put all 3 out. They're all landscape today. Some use new stuff like I talked about already, but so with the new designer paper and new in colors and new Stampin' Blends, and then some of it is retiring. Get your subtle folder, your stitch nested labels, your grow, bloom and grow, etc. while you can. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Carrie. Don't forget, on my blog, I always post the dimensions and supply list. And it's a clickable supply list where it'll take you straight to my store if you need anything. If you're a demonstrator, it's a supply list for you to use to order through yourself, of course. Thank you, Stella. Now, the new products I can't add to the supply list yet. So I just like typed them out, the names of them. But seriously, if anyone's not a demonstrator, like there's no negative to being a demonstrator. You pay $99, you pick 125, and if you decide, which is crazy, but if you decide, I hate this, I never want to do anything, you never have to do anything, even get your own discount, which you qualify for. You just literally do nothing and nothing happens. You just keep your stuff and that's the end of that. And then you can buy the kit again in the future. Don't forget, there was a part 1 to this video, so I'll of course add that to the description and stuff. But check out part 1 if you missed it. I mean, I guess we're lucky that it cut off right when I was about to start stamping, so it's like 2 equal, you know, they can stand alone, but still. And feel free to share this video because it will, thank you, Joyce. It will still help me out, you know. Dawn says, no negative whatsoever to being a demo. And by the way, Dawn's not in my team, unless you have a different name on Facebook, Dawn. So she's just saying, because there really isn't. You know, most of my team, there's almost 200, are just in this to get the discount and have fun with other stampers. So anyway, it's been almost 2 hours since I started, but I hope y'all enjoyed seeing the new stuff and then the stamping demo and all my class information. I appreciate you guys. I didn't think so, Dawn, but you know, we do have several Dawns, so I'm like, maybe her last name's different on Facebook. So thank you for the comment, Dawn. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying, but thanks for tuning in. Oh, every week, because it is very helpful to my business, even if you're just watching and not commenting, you know, all that stuff helps me. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great week. I will see you next week, and I don't know what I'm going to show next week, so that'll be fun to figure out. Bye. I'm going to take it off here and turn it down, or turn it off. Bye.